Hello and welcome back to the Thought Leader Recruitment Podcast. I'm Sam Bylett, and today I'm joined by Alice Hume, the Global Client Engagement Director at Rise Technical. Alice, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sam. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Yes, can you start by telling us, the audience, what Rise does and what makes it stand out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rise is a specialist in engineering recruitment. We were founded 20 years ago as of July, and the founders sought out to bridge the skills gap in the engineering recruitment market. So, our USP is all about providing motivated talent, really aligned to company values.
Good stuff. And what brought you initially into the recruitment world, and what's kept you there for nearly 8 years, is it?
Yeah, be 8 years in July.
Yeah.
That's absolutely flown by, to be honest. So I guess it's a pretty typical answer that you get on here, but completely fell into recruitment. I graduated with a degree in English language and linguistics. In my final year, we did some modules on public speaking, and I guess sales was something that I was initially attracted to. Was definitely drawn to the opportunities to progress my career within a growing, ambitious company, and the advert that Rise posted was just, yeah, really, really sang to me. So yeah, Rise was my only application, and I've been there for almost 8 years.
Great stuff. You must be doing a good job.
Yeah, hopefully.
And you mentioned Rise works across UK, Europe, and the US. What kinds of businesses do you tip?
Sure. So it's quite a broad range, to be honest. So we do target anything from startups to larger global firms, but the common thread is that they all operate across technical and engineering sectors and all need to bridge that gap within the organization.
I recently read that engineering and the technical sectors are facing talent shortages globally. How is that impacting your clients? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly something that I think everyone's feeling. So, Rise, we just released an insights report actually. So we surveyed our UK client base and our US client base as well. And in the UK, 88% of companies said the skill shortage was the biggest challenge. Initially, I think so post-COVID, people were combating that with salary, so increasing in salary. But in reality, it's about the longer term. So you need to be looking at training and development. But we are seeing the skill shortage as definitely a big issue across our whole client base.
Yeah, I think it's a common theme I'm hearing on these podcasts as well across several industries. So yeah, it's quite an interesting topic. So
Yeah.
the job market is obviously very competitive today, as you know. How do you help your clients stand out? Your candidates stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a candidate perspective, I think there's a lot of noise out there at the moment. There's maybe lots of jobs out there on the market, but perhaps you're struggling to maybe get through that first or second stage. I think it's important to have clarity in terms of what you're looking for. Really think about the type of company that you're looking to approach and the type of company culture that you're interested in. And then just small things like making sure your CV is tailored to the job that you're applying for, make sure your LinkedIn is like up to date with your most relevant experience, and just have a bit of a clean up of your social media and your online presence just to make sure that that's up to scratch. And of course, finally, I'd say just engaging with a specialist recruiter in your area.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you mentioned LinkedIn there. It's becoming almost like your second CV now, isn't it? It's like really important
Yeah.
to have that up to date and like, you know, be careful what you post and, make sure, you're kind of connecting with the right people and creating the right content. This is a bit of a minefield really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think LinkedIn, though, can be so valuable. I mean, lots of people within my network say that, especially say they've gone out consulting on their own or pursued different career paths, that the network across LinkedIn has been so valuable for them. So I certainly use it as a platform to connect with people and make those connections that could one day be quite important.
Yeah, yeah, sure. And do you think companies should worry about competitors offering better pay or flexibility?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think the recruitment industry has had like such a turbulent through like few years. So pre-COVID, it was a completely different market. I mean, I was still a recruiter before COVID. So, you know, you could just post an advert and you would get a series of applicants that were, you know, relevant to the role. However, now the market has completely flipped. So we call it more candidate led. You know, candidates do expect recruiters to contact them and therefore won't be as proactive in terms of, you know, applying for jobs. But I think there is still a lot in terms of some companies are playing the salary game, but at the end of the day, that's not the long game. If you are going to offer someone more on the salary and potentially take them from one of your competitors, then really how long is that placement going to last? I think if you can really nail down your employer value proposition, really understand what training and development and progression you can offer, then you're going to attract a much, you know, higher caliber of candidates that are going to stay long term.
Yeah, sure. Is there much headhunting going on in your industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we tend to stay away from your traditional headhunting in our sort of like bulk engineering business. However, I mean, just going back to the insights report, I think the main reason and the main way that companies are retaining talent is training and development. I'm pretty sure 88% of companies we surveyed said that. Salary was only a close second. So I think it's about really nailing down that cultural fit, and then salary will hopefully come after.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Touching on kind of employer branding now, I mean, it's really important these days. How do you explain the importance of employer branding to your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes recruiters were seen as a necessary evil. So, you know, they have to come out and use us. But the process that we go through with our clients is really, really thorough. So it is about understanding your culture, who's going to be the right fit for the hiring manager, and you know, and really us getting involved in your business so we can understand you, because at the end of the day we're going to take you to market. So I think there's a few things you can nail down to really retain staff. So yeah, company culture, training and progression, what's on offer longer term, and that can really, if you take that to market, that's really going to attract some really, really good candidates.
Yeah, for sure. It's being more increasingly important, I think, as time goes on, for sure. I'm seeing a lot of that
Yeah.
myself. With tech, obviously, you know, it's made a massive advance the last few years. I think you mentioned before when we talked, Rise offers is it executive search, multi-hire, and even salary benchmarking. Are businesses adapting fast enough for these modern skill sets?
Yeah, I think companies are really needing to rely on recruiters a lot more to you know, receive those market insights. We've certainly seen a much higher demand for those added value solutions. I mean, that's something that we provide and will always provide to our clients as a sort of added value. I think people are adapting. It would be great to see more commitment at a government level from a investment into STEM subjects. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So really encouraging the younger generation to move into those subject areas because they're fantastic careers, and especially looking at how we can balance the gender diversity, because at the moment these industries are really only serving like one half of the population. If we could increase gender diversity, you'd actually have, you know, a much larger pool of people, and then, you know, women are getting access to those really exciting careers that are ever expanding and ever growing and ever developing. So that's something we're really passionate about here as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And big debate obviously continues to go on: work from home versus in office. Your view, especially across the markets you serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously when the pandemic first kicked off, obviously a lot of our work is in manufacturing. So naturally from a hands-on engineering perspective, that's not quite going to serve those engineers that are going into factories and manufacturing. However, there does need to be a commitment from employers to some sort of flexibility. I think personally for me, I love a hybrid. I tend to do one day a week from home, but I love being in the office. I think I'd get a bit stir crazy if I stayed all day every day, but I think it's so important for junior staff to come in the office, especially when someone's first starting with a business, because you just get immersed with the company culture. And pretty much everything that I learned was by listening to other people around me and then adapting my own style. So I think flexibility is important, but case by case basis, I think employers do need to still embrace it.
I think you're absolutely spot on there. I think hybrid is the way forward. I think companies need to be more flexible. They're obviously losing out on some amazing talent, not being too rigid. But you can see
Yeah.
the argument from both sides, and you can, it just, like you said, some people like to be a bit in the office, some people be at home, and then maybe some people just like to be at home all the time. So it's
Yeah.
having that that kind of balance, isn't it? But I think
Yeah, definitely.
you're absolutely spot on with that. But what is the best way for candidates, would you say, to like connect with a recruiter like yourself, like Rise?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot of traction from our website. So everything is going to be posted on our website and that is kept really up to date. Also, I'd probably say, of course, going back to LinkedIn. Also, connecting on LinkedIn, perhaps, emailing into us or applying for a job. I mean, we're always here to answer any questions that you might have, and just support in general with some job search advice.
Have you seen any hiring or kind of candidate behaviour trends that businesses should be keeping an eye on?
Jobs.
AI is obviously, again, a big talking point in the industry. How are you using AI, and how do you see AI kind of, you know, taking the recruitment? Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really exciting topic. And I think here at Rise, it's certainly something that we're embracing, but also being cautious about. I think in an ideal world, AI would really improve recruitment processes from an administration perspective. So there is a lot of, back office work that goes into recruitment, and the end-to-end journey that you do with the client. So a lot of that AI can definitely improve. But I think the human element and the human contact, from a recruitment perspective, could never be replaced. I think people are always going to want to speak to another person at the end of the phone and have that emotional intelligence to be able to walk you through pretty much what's going to be one of the biggest decisions of your life, which is changing a job.
where do you see the biggest opportunity for growth with Rise?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, we've had a really positive start to the year. I think we're really bucking the trend in terms of the quite negative headlines that you're seeing at the moment across the sector. So we've broken all our records across Q1 2025, which is really, really good. By far, our biggest growth market is the US. So we've had 300% net fee income growth in that market year on year since we started the division. Yeah, it's obviously a massive market out there, and we really feel like we're bringing something, a little bit different to the party. So yeah, we're really excited about that particular market.
What is your approach to client acquisition?
Sure. So I think it is about keeping authentic. Even though I said we go after a range of clients, I think it's really trying to hone in on bridging that skills gap within engineering sectors. I know we spoke about the skills shortage, and I think everyone is feeling that pain point. So really looking at that pain point and how Rise can step in and help that. But alongside that, keeping a really good brand in terms of my personal brand on LinkedIn, and keeping well-rounded, keeping up-to-date knowledge on the market, really providing clients with added value. I'd probably say all of those points really impact our client acquisition.
What's what are you most excited about for the next kind of chapter with Rise? Is there anything new on the horizon?
We're only sort of just getting started. It is a really exciting time for the business. I think a fantastic time to join. We're really ambitious. We cover some really exciting sectors that are always going to continue to grow. So yeah, I'm excited about all of it. All of it, to be fair, from exploring new markets to dominating the US, and still keeping the UK running and offering a range of new services here. So yeah, it's an exciting time for Rise.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, Alice, thanks so much for taking the time today and your insights. It's been a wonderful conversation. I know we briefly touched on it earlier, but how can our audience connect with you and Rise?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on LinkedIn, Rise Technical. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so Alice Hume, and you can find us if you do a quick Google search, Rise Technical, and just connect with us on the socials.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alice. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Sam. Have a great day. See you later. Bye.